Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mary. Today I'll be reacting to another video from Shapiro. Today's video is titled "It's About Time Shapiro Called BS on Preferred Pronouns." So without further ado, let's get started.
I think that teaching kids, as we are now being told, teaching kids that they must use preferred pronouns, or that men can become women, women can become men, sex doesn't exist, as a recent op-ed in the New York Times said, that's asinine, anti-scientific, and counterproductive.
So my main disagreement with you is on the subject of transgenderism. And what I've seen in the past is that you said one of your principal objections to the transgender movement is that you think accepting them into society won't necessarily help solve their problems. Is that like a fair characterization of what you say?
No, I mean, I think that I don't think it's fair in the sense that I think everybody should be treated with a certain level of dignity. But what I have said is that I don't think that the high transgender suicide rate is attributable to societal intolerance.
Okay, so I sort of disagree with, or I don't think the empirical evidence necessarily says that. I've seen studies from UCLA that have drawn different conclusions, but I realize if we disagree on the empirical evidence, not much can be resolved here tonight. So assuming that it would help to accept them more into society, would you change your position on transgenderism?
So the position on transgenderism I want to clarify so that I can tell you what I would change and what I wouldn't change. So what I would not change is the idea that you cannot force people to call you what you want to be called. That is anathema to a free society. I will also not change the idea that we should not indoctrinate children in blatant biological falsehoods like there's no such thing as male and female. I think it's very important that kids know there is such a thing as male and female, that these are real categories, and that a man cannot become a woman and a woman cannot become a man. I think that confusing children about this stuff carries its own inherent dangers. Kids are easily confused and easily screwed up. So I think that would not change. I've also said in conversations with people like Blair White, who's a transgender woman, meaning a man who believes he's a woman, I've said to Blair, like, if we were at a restaurant or something and we were out to dinner together, I wouldn't go out of my way to call Blair White a he. I mean, presumably we'd be speaking in second person with one another. But at the same time, like, for the same reason that, you know, there are people in my life who do lots of things that I disagree with, and I don't feel it necessary to launch a conflict on the basis of that every time we meet. But that's a different thing than what the transgender rights movement is saying. What they are saying is that society should cram down on people perceptions about biology that are false, that we should treat it as bigotry if you use the actual biological pronouns for people. This is a form of bigotry and hate, which is nonsense. It's just something you don't like. There are lots of things I don't like. It doesn't mean it's a form of bigotry and hate. And that's where I stand on this. So again, I think that we should try to treat people with as much civility as possible. And in my position as a public figure, you know, I am very often speaking on the general kind of issue. I'm not speaking on one-to-one, you know, out to lunch or something. That's a little bit of a different thing. You know, when my child is 4.5 years old, right? She comes to me and she will say, "Dad, I drew a picture. Do you think that it's good?" And the answer is yes. I mean, I love my daughter. Sure, the picture is great. Now, is that, if I'm an art critic, is that going to change my definition of good or art? No. I mean, if I were the art critic at the New York Times and I were reviewing my daughter's picture, I'd say this is garbage. It's not good at all, right? I mean, but my public position is that I am the art critic at the New York Times discussing issues of public importance and public policy. I don't think that it is the responsibility of other people to protect your fragile mindset. With that said, if people wish to do so out of a certain level of sympathy, I certainly don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, if you want to, in interpersonal connections, do that. But I think that teaching kids, as we are now being told, teaching kids that they must use preferred pronouns, or that men can become women, women can become men, sex doesn't exist, as a recent op-ed in the New York Times said, that's asinine, anti-scientific, and counterproductive.
Okay, thank you.
Wow, I love this so much, and I stand with Ben. You know, I stand with Ben Shapiro because I believe teaching kids this stuff is not helping, because if you want the world to be better, or if you want to change the future, you start from kids. So now letting the kids know that anyone can identify as whatever they choose to identify as is like messing them up, because we are, aside from our brain or how brilliant we are no different from every other animals out there. And I've never seen a goat, a female goat, behaving like a male goat, or I've never seen a female lion behaving like a male lion. we have different characteristics. We have what makes us stand out. We have what makes us special. So identifying as and behaving like another gender simply because you feel like you can do it is wrong. And I feel like people need psychological help, because it's like you are saying, I need something to explain. Okay, this is black, and you are saying, everyone, this is not black. You can identify or you can see this as red, whereas we are all seeing it as black. That is the way I see things. No matter how many million children are born, let's say in a year, we will surely get either a male or a female. It's like coin. It's either head or tail. There's nothing in between. So stop making it look like when you look from this direction, the coin can either be head and tail or tail and head. No, it does not make sense. It's either head or tail. And I think, stop teaching children. I think I watched a video about a certain guy talking to um the proprietor and the staff of the school, that they should stop forcing their children to believe this is it indoctrination. I don't pay tuition fee for my children to learn, and you're convincing them that we have more than two genders, and they should not let the parents know what they are being taught, because if they feel their parents can't handle it, they should not inform their parents. And I feel like it does not make sense. Like, you are trying to brainwash these kids, and that is what is paining me, and encouraging these kids to go for drugs that would prevent them from experiencing puberty. I know puberty might be a difficult stage in our life. I think when I was experiencing it, I was eating too much. I was behaving some way towards my parents because I felt like I'm an adult. But as time goes on, you realize that there are decisions that you took back then that you wish you could change. But that is why we are all human. We learn from them. But there are some irreversible decisions that you can't correct. So when you start taking those testosterone to prevent you from experiencing puberty, those puberty blocker drugs, like you deprive these children from experiencing this natural gift that every one of us are meant to experience. Now they are convinced, they are confused, they are stuck in the middle. They don't know if they should be a man or a woman. Their voice as a man has not yet matured because of this puberty blocker, drugs they are taking. And I feel like it's not fair. Let them be old enough to decide. Like, to me, that is my take. At least, I don't even agree 18 years. I want them to be able to pay for these drugs they are taking. You understand? 18 years, some of them might still rely on their parents. So let them be old enough, let them finish college, start working, and they can decide, okay, whatever they want to do is left for them to decide. These are life-changing decisions that they are not supposed to take at a young age. Anyway, there's a beautiful one coming from Ben Shapiro. I enjoyed this and I want to see more videos like this. If you have any recommendation, let me know in the comment section. If it's your first time visiting the channel, click on the subscribe button. Thanks for watching and remain blessed.